a refugee, to me, America was a beacon of hope. A place where freedom wasn't just a word, but it was a promise. I arrived here when I was 12 years old. I could have never imagined the day would come when we were staring down at this kind of creeping authoritarianism in the United States of America. But we are here because Donald Trump just has not chipped away at our democracy. He has taken a wrecking ball to the very foundation of what makes America great. He has tried to intimidate Minnesotans. He has tried to make us afraid. He has tried to divide us. But we stood strong. We have had each other's back, and we have never bent the knee. Because in Minnesota, we are built different. We do not cower to bullies. We are Minnesota strong. What we are seeing right now is bigger than what is happening here. Operation Metro Surge was just the tip of the iceberg. We are witnessing a full-scale assault on our rights, our institutions, and the rule of law. We have an administration that is openly and brazenly breaking the law and is acting like the Constitution is optional. And while they are doing that, they are shamefully and blatantly lying about every single thing they are doing. There were hundreds of millions of dollars in oil futures traded just minutes before a sudden reversal in U.S. policy towards Iran. This is not a coincidence, it is corruption. At DHS, we got a reckless spending spree, planes, vanity projects. It's like a billionaire's midlife crisis, except the American people are paying for it.
Now, what if I told you that Ilhan Omar is now at the center of a deportation controversy being pushed by none other than J.D. Vance? Moments ago, a statement dropped that has people asking one explosive question. Can a sitting US congresswoman actually face deportation proceedings? Supporters are calling it political warfare. Critics say it's long overdue accountability. But here is where it gets even more intense. This move could trigger a legal and constitutional showdown that changes everything. And what happens next? Stay with me because this story just took a wild turn. Welcome back to my channel. Thanks for sticking with us. If you're new here, do let us know where you're watching us from. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on your notifications so you never miss a video. Video credit goes to the original creators for every video used in this episode. Let's get to the video and I'll be right back with more commentary.
According to Vice President J.D. Vance, it's Omar who's doing the lying. Vance said that this week that he thinks Omar definitely committed immigration fraud and is now looking to build a case against her. A spokesperson for Omar called the accusation, quote, ridiculous lie. But the tiny African nation of Somaliland, different than Somalia, is ready to help and is calling for Omar to be extradited to them. I say let's do it. All right. Joey, so the allegation here that's been made is that Omar entered into a sham civil marriage with her alleged brother. That's the allegation here. Do you think Vice President Vance really believes that she committed immigration fraud, or do you think he's just playing to the base ahead of a 2028 presidential run?
I don't know. I mean, it seems like he believes it. I don't know what he knows that we don't know. Just the timeline here. So she came here as a child, like just to make sure everyone understands. She came here as a child, as a refugee. You can come as a refugee, and about 5 years after that, you can apply for citizenship. And that's essentially what she turned. When she turned 17, she applied for it through her father, is what she says. So she has legal status in a pretty common way for refugees. It's not her legal status that is in question. It's did she help someone else gain citizenship fraudulently? I don't know the full timeline. Basically, she was married to someone, divorced that person, got married to someone else just long enough for them to become a citizen, then divorced that person. Or she was common law married to someone, lived with someone, then married this other person long enough for them to become a citizen, then broke that marriage up and married the person she was with to begin with. If you're in, you know, a trailer park down in Georgia where I'm from, this kind of stuff does happen. I mean, it's kind of a, you know, redneck, white trashy way of doing things. I've seen it happen. It's not normal. It's not common. It's kind of odd. And there is a motive here that needs to be looked at. I don't know what the truth is. I don't know enough about these people, like her and the individuals in this. But it's enough to look at, especially if you're going to be in Congress. It seems like you would, you know, oppo research and kind of make sure you're locked tight on something like this.
You know, Joy, I didn't have that on my bingo card, the defense of marrying a sibling from you. But okay.
I did not say anything about siblings in all of that, because I don't know if that person is her sibling or not. But even if that person isn't, if she only married that person to get them citizenship, that's still fraud.
But, you know, Kevin, the challenge here, I'm going to have you put your almost lawyer hat on since you're working toward it. So denaturalization is very, very difficult. There's an exceptionally high burden of proof. So, I mean, what are the chances that this even happens?
But a fear, a legitimate fear, they say, of quote-unquote jihadist terrorism, whether it's Fort Hood or San Bernardino or the recent truck attack in New York. What do you say to them?
I would say our country should be more fearful of white men across our country, because they are actually causing most of the deaths within this country. We should be profiling, monitoring, and creating policies to fight the radicalization.
Ilhan Omar definitely committed immigration fraud against the United States of America. And I talked to Stephen Miller about this actually recently. We're trying to look at what the remedies are. That's the thing that we're trying to figure out, is what are the legal remedies?
Let's talk about J.D. Vance's announcement. Now, for those who don't know, J.D. Vance, based on reports, well, this is official, based on Trump's announcement, J.D. Vance is leading a major interagency task force aimed at cracking down on fraud, often referred to in that context as the fraud czar. So is he the first ever fraud czar? Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he is. So we have him. He's doing these meetings, and the biggest beneficiary of this is going to be, Trump finding out a lot of things that we probably didn't even know as a country. Here's something that we really got to talk about. Is his announcement earlier with Benny Johnson. Him and Benny Johnson sat down. We haven't really been hearing from J.D. Vance. He looks thinner, man. Boy looks thinner. So here we go. So J.D. Vance, and look, a lot of people have been talking about Ilhan Omar like nothing's going to happen. But hey, is something about to happen? Like, are we about to get some big news? Like, what's going on here, since we have the fraud czar himself? So J.D. Vance, White House Fraud Task Force, is targeting Ilhan Omar for committing immigration fraud. And look, Vance is literally saying Omar definitely committed immigration fraud. The Vice President of the United States of America is saying that Ilhan Omar committed immigration fraud. Now, let's take a listen here at this huge announcement from this interview with J.D. Vance.
About Ilhan Omar and Tim Walz. And obviously, Ilhan Omar, the president and the White House have been out saying she married her brother, that there is immigration fraud going on here. These are deportable denaturalization offenses. Can you give us an update on that?
Yeah, so we actually think that Ilhan Omar definitely committed immigration fraud against the United States of America. And I talked to Stephen Miller about this actually recently. We're trying to look at what the remedies are. That's the thing that we're trying to figure out, is what are the legal remedies now that we know that she's committed immigration fraud? How do you go after her? How do you investigate her? How do you actually do the thing? How do you build a case necessary to get some justice for the American people? There's a related issue, Benny, which is she has been at the center of a lot of the worst fraudsters in the Somalian community. So do I know that Ilhan Omar was aware that the Quality Leering Center was defrauding the American people? I'm not certain of it, but we at least need to investigate it, because if people can commit wrongdoing without even the fear that they're going to be found out, that's a fundamental problem. So I'm worried about the immigration fraud. I'm also worried about, what did Ilhan Omar know about what was happening in the Somali community, and why was nobody looking into it until, frankly, Donald Trump came along?
Wow, this is blockbuster stuff. Number one, I love his approach here. He gets it. I think he gets the anger from a lot of people that are watching stuff like this and realizing. Remember, she came out and said that white men are the worst. They're.
So here's the reality: this situation involving Ilhan Omar and J.D. Vance is far from over. What we are witnessing could spark one of the biggest political and legal battles in recent history. Will this actually go anywhere, or is it just a high-stake political move? One thing is certain: the fallout is just beginning. Now, I want to hear from you. Is this justified or crossing the line? If you value conversations that go deeper than headlines, hit that like button, Subscribe if you haven't already. Turn on your notifications so you never miss future discussions. Thank you for watching. Stay informed, stay compassionate, and most importantly, stay active in the dialogue. If you missed what was said at the beginning, please watch that again. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.